Are you finding it a little difficult to stay motivated when learning a new language? Are you looking at the year ahead thinking, how can I improve and reach my goals? Well, today is your lucky day. We're going to sort that out for you with our lovely goal setting workshop. Hello and welcome back. I'm Claire if you're new here, and if you're not new here, hello. We're going to do a very important thing today, which is set our goals. You've clicked on this video because you're quite motivated to improve or to build on what you've already done. We are trying to learn a language. This thing can make us feel many different ways. I can feel elated, so happy some days, and other days you can feel no motivation and discouraged and just want to give up. Totally normal, because learning a language is a lifelong journey. But you're here now, which means that you're ready to give it a try and really want to find a way to navigate it and improve. Don't worry, we're going to do it today and together, and we'll have our goals in place by the end of this video. The first thing that we're going to do today is we need our free PDF of our goal setting guide. We're going to be looking at it throughout the whole video, and that's what I'll be referring to as I write my answers and things like that. You can get it in the link in the description. It's right there and it's free. All you have to do is sign up and it will appear in your inbox. You'll also be signed up to all future PDF lessons and you'll be on our mailing list. Remember, you can unsubscribe at any time. Okay, so this is our free PDF and this is what we'll be looking at. We've got lots of questions, but we're going to focus on a few different things today. We're going to be looking at some reflection on things that we've already done. We're going to visualize our goals. We're going to set our new goals. And the last thing is something called progress bingo, which I will explain to you in more detail at the end as we go through. So this is going to be our guide for setting goals and improving whatever language goals we have this year. The first part of our goal making process, we're going to actually take a look back at what we've already done, okay? Because most of us have already started and we need to look at what we've done already, look at how our goals were previously and what we can use now to move forward with our new goals. We're going to take a little moment of reflection. So with our PDF, which you will have now, you can take a look at 4 very important questions, okay? We're going to fill them out together. I'll give you some examples of ways that you can put in your own answers, but think about this for yourself. What works for you, okay? So our first question is, can you remember a moment last year when you used English successfully in a real world situation? And we want to describe it as well. Okay, so for me, if I was thinking about this, I always think of different languages that I've learned. Specifically, I remember when I was learning Spanish and I had learned the time. And when I was outside the same day, someone asked me, what time is it? And I was able to do it. I remember that situation really well. So I'm going to write this one and imagine that I maybe gave someone the time, or I could also say something like I gave someone directions as well, or I ordered food in a restaurant, or I talked on the phone in English. You can put whatever you want here. Now, I want you to think about this time, this moment where you used the language in a real life situation. How did you feel? That's really important as well, because it could be something like, I gave a presentation in English. How did you feel when you were finished? Probably amazing. And that's a feeling I want you to hone in on, examine, and think about when you're writing your new goals, okay? Because that motivation is going to help you. So a moment last year where you used English successfully in a real world situation, it can be anything that you can think of. And I'm sure everyone has something. And then also describe how it made you feel. Okay, let's look at our next question. What motivated us to learn English last year? Okay, and did that motivation change as the year went on? So let's have a think. What was the reason before that you decided to learn a new language? Okay, it can be anything. You all have your own motivations. It could be for work, it could be to travel, it could also be to interacted in a new culture. So whatever that is, we're going to write it down here. And as we learned things last year, did that motivation change? Maybe you wanted to learn it to travel, and then you traveled a little bit, and then you came back and you said, okay, yeah, I have a new motivation. Now I want to maybe move to a new country. So now you have to have a different goal. So whatever motivated you last year, we're gonna pop it in right here. All right, our next reflection question is a really nice one. I think it also shows how much progress you've already made. So we're going to think about a mistake that you used to make in English that you've now corrected. Okay, which mistake is that? So maybe it's something like you are using the wrong preposition when describing a place. So I would always say, I'm in home instead of at home. That could be something that you've corrected since. Or it could be something bigger, like learning a piece of grammar that has really changed the way you express yourself in English. Maybe you fixed a spelling mistake that you always make. That's something that I find, even in English, I'm always making spelling mistakes. So I'm always trying to make sure that I've learned how to spell things correctly. So let's have a think of one mistake that we've made that we can look back and say, I've corrected that. That's not a problem I have anymore. Okay. So I'm going to put, we've improved our prepositions, because that's always one that I know people find tricky. Okay. But it can be anything. And that way you can kind of see a small piece of progress that you've made. That's great. That's amazing. We're going to keep going with that. All right, on to our last reflection question. Which English learning habits did you develop last year that you want to continue? So these are positive things that you feel good about, that you think have worked for you and that you're going to continue to do and build on. We're going to do more in the new year. So that could be, I started watching TV without subtitles, okay? It could be, I started reading for 10 minutes every day in English. Or it could be, I started doing English classes. Or I started watching YouTube videos to help me. It can be anything that you feel has benefited you and your language learning goals that you will go forward with now. Okay, so take a moment to think about them. These 4 reflection questions are very important. They show what your motivations were previously and if they've changed. And they also show progress, so what you've done so far. Because a lot of people kind of come at this moment where they think, oh, well, I haven't done enough, or I didn't improve as much as I wanted to. But I want you to really reflect and think how far you've come in your language learning journey. It's really good. You can go further, of course, but right now, appreciate and take a moment of gratitude for all the hard work you've already put in. With our reflection time out of the way, we're going to now focus on what we want to achieve. We're going to visualize our goals, okay? So what can this look like? We have 2 very important questions on our PDF now. One of them is, if you could imagine yourself 1 year from now, from where you're watching this video, filling out this PDF, how do you want your English to sound or feel? So this is a really nice one that you'll have to sit down and think about for a minute. We want to expand a little bit more. We don't want a simple answer. We don't want to say something like, I want to be fluent. That's good, but we want to examine that feeling a little bit more, okay? So we're going to think, 1 year from now, what do I want to be able to do, or how do I want to feel? So you might say something like, I want to feel confident when I'm talking to other people, or I'm speaking on the phone, or I'm ordering food at a restaurant. We want to say things like, I want to feel less worried about mistakes that I'm making, or I want to be able to speak without hesitating a lot. There's lots of things. We all have our own preferences on our language learning goals. But I want you to think, for 1 year from now, if I could improve over the course of a year, how would I sound when I speak, or how would I feel when I'm speaking another language? And that's a really nice feeling. And it's a good thing to imagine, because that goal will be a little bit tougher as the year goes on. But if you have motivation behind it, or you can visualize what it will be like after you put in a lot of work, it should help you keep going. So if you can imagine yourself 1 year from now, how do you want your English to sound or feel? Let's write that in now. All right, one more question on our visualization, okay? What does being better, being more confident in English mean to you? And how do you envision using it in your life in the future? So we talked about how we want to sound or feel. Well, we want to look at why we're also trying to improve, okay, or what that means to us if we can improve. So a lot of people have different motivations. Is it for work? Do you want to be able to lead meetings in English or talk with colleagues and not feel stressed or worried? Do you want to be able to travel and use the language so that you can move around? Do you want to make friends? Maybe you're living abroad. It will make your life easier to interact with locals. What is the reason? What does it mean to you to be better for your future? Everyone has something. There are lots of different goals and lots of different reasons. If I was to think about myself and learning Spanish, for example, it would mean that I could make more Spanish-speaking friends. That would be a really big thing that I would want when I'm looking at improving my Spanish. So we're going to take a little moment now and think, what does that mean for me? Why am I learning? What are my real goals? And what does having language allow me to do? Okay, so let's have a think. What could that be? Could be I'm going to be able to travel more, meet people, or maybe I'm going to move abroad. That's always a good one. And how am I going to use the language to do that? Maybe for a career, how is that going to help me improve my chances of getting a job that I want? There are lots of things that you can do. So whatever reason you're putting into learning a language, it could be even as simple as making more friends or understanding a new culture. Okay, whatever reason that you have to learn the language, put that motivation in there, and how will it impact your future? Let's set our goals. This is our next step. We've reflected on what we've done before. We've visualized where we want to be. Now we need the middle part, which is how do we get there? So setting our goals needs to be a lot more specific than we generally do. I'm quite guilty of this, and I will say something quite vague and in general, like I want to improve my Spanish. We need to be way more specific than that, okay? And we need to also have the steps in place to help us get there. Something that I like to use when setting goals are SMART goals. So SMART goals are a concept that it stands for specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-bound. So SMART. And these let us see our goals a little bit more intentionally and allow us to see the steps it's going to take us to get there. So I'm going to help you think of how you can set your own. These are some examples. Of course, you can think of any other types of goals that you have and ways that you're going to achieve these goals. So we'll start with S. S is for specific. So your goal should be very clear. You should know exactly what to do. So if our goal is something like, I want to improve my vocabulary, our specific goal needs to be something like, I want to learn 20 new words per week. Intense, but good. That's our very specific goal. Then we move on to measurable, M for measurable. You need to check your progress. How will you do that? Okay, so maybe you're going to write all these new words on flashcards. Sounds good. And you're going to revise them once per week. Maybe you'll even test yourself once per month. Is it achievable? That's our A section. Is it achievable? So your goal should be something you can actually do. So we're not going to say something like, I want to learn 500 new words a week. That is very intense, right? So it has to be something that we can achieve. Is it something we can do? Absolutely. We have maybe, we can watch some YouTube videos to pick up new vocabulary. We can read things online. We can write down new words in our book. It is something that we can achieve and we can test. Is it relevant? So our next section is are relevant. Your goal should match your needs or your dreams, right? So if I want to learn new vocabulary, we're going to go back to our visualization here, our goals, and think, okay, well, one of my goals was that I want to be able to travel and use English more when I travel. So does that goal reflect that? If I'm learning new vocabulary, yes, it totally fits in here. Absolutely. Is it relevant? Does it meet my needs and my dreams? Yes, I am learning vocabulary so I can travel. Okay, or so that I can feel more confident in meetings. Whatever your goal is, does it match that? So why are you learning new vocabulary? For this reason. If your goal is something like, I want to improve my listening comprehension, does that match with your visualized future, your visualized goals? So yeah, it should do. If you're like, I want to be able to have more conversations with native speakers, my listening comprehension will help for sure. So is it relevant? Yes, let's match those two. The last one is T, time bound. Okay, so this is kind of like having a deadline. Set a time limit so you stay focused and motivated. It's always nice to see where that little end date is so you can check in on your progress. So I'm going to say I want to learn 20 new words a week. Maybe I'm going to say for 6 months. Okay, and that gives me a time limit. How will I know when I've reached that deadline? Maybe I will have a little revision test at the end, or maybe I'll give myself something like, that's when I'm going to travel and meet new people. That's when I booked my trip. Okay, could be something like that. So you'll have a deadline in place so you can find yourself something to focus on into the future. So we've started looking at our goals as in something a bit more specific, something that I can measure and see, okay, I can test myself and see if I'm doing this. Is it achievable? So it's not something that is going to be really, really difficult to do and then you're going to give up. Is it relevant? Does it match with the goals I've written down before? And do I have a timeline in place? Do I have a deadline for that goal to be achieved? We're on to the last page, the last thing that you have to fill out in our PDF today. And you might be wondering, what are all these squares? What is this about? We're going to do a little progress bingo. This is a fun trend that you can try. So we've set our goals, we've really put them in place, especially with our SMART goals. We're going to do progress bingo. What does that mean? Okay, this is a way to make your goal setting a little bit more fun. So you've got all your squares, and you're going to put things in it that you will hopefully do during the year. So we've got 2025 bingo here. So this can be anything. We're going to look at it a bit more specific about learning a language in a moment, but if you're thinking about in general, it could be something like, I want to run a marathon, and I'd write that down in one of my squares. Or I want to travel to Japan, I'll write that in one of my squares. But how can we use it for learning a language? Let's take a look. We're going to put anything down that you want to do that you can cross off when you've achieved it. So we've got a few here. I'm going to think of some. I'm going to show you my recommendations in a moment, but I want you to put in something that is relevant to you. You can take inspiration from my ones, of course, but I want you to also really think about things that would be really exciting to achieve this year. So what can we put on our 2025 bingo card for learning a language? There are lots of things. I'm going to give you lots of examples. You can use some of them, you can use them for inspiration, you can put your own ones, but I want you to take some time to think of fun, achievable things that you can cross off during the year and hopefully get them all done so you can have bingo, progress bingo. So our first one I'm going to think about is read a book in English. This is a very achievable one. There are lots of books that are a little bit simpler written or graded readers, so books that are written at a certain language level. So read a book in English, you've got the whole year, that can be on our list. Another one could be tell a joke in English. That one's really nice because that always feels good when you've done it. It really shows your grasp of the language. So that one's definitely on the list for me, tell a joke in English. Watch a movie without subtitles. That one could be a really good one to try and work on during the year. Hopefully you'll feel confident while you're watching it and understand everything, but it's a good goal to set for yourself. Another fun one is memorize a poem in English. Have a think, you probably know poems in your native language, but it would be nice to have one, even a simple one, just that memorized that you can maybe use at some point, or just to show that you're memorizing something in another language and that you have it. And poetry is always so beautiful. We also have go to an English speaking event. So this one is a big one. This one's one of those ones that you want to cross off at some point. It can be a little scary. So this could be where, I don't know, it could be a conference, or it could be just something fun that you'll go and you'll probably use the language and meet people for the first time and use the language. That one's definitely on my list. We also have use an idiom correctly. That one's a good one. There's so many idioms. There's so many that you can use in many different situations. So just having it on your list, use an idiom correctly. We could also use ask for directions. That one would be either you do need to find somewhere or you just want to cross it off your list. You can definitely ask people for directions and hopefully understand what they describe to you. That one's a very exciting one to cross off. The next one's super simple. Learn some slang in English. That one you can find anywhere. And you could even do it today after you fill out your bingo card and get an easy one to cross off. There's lots of English slang online. Maybe you have some English speaking friends. You can ask them to teach you something. The next one is one I wrote from experience. Getting a haircut in English. This doesn't have to be a haircut. It can be anything. A nail appointment, a doctor's appointment, anything. But doing it in the language that you want to learn. I remember when I first moved to Spain, I was so scared to get my haircut in another language because you're kind of in a situation where there's lots of vocabulary. You know, your hair might be really important to you as well. And then you're sitting there kind of with this person in maybe in a language you feel nervous to speak. And I remember I first started getting my hair cut in English when I first moved to Spain. And then I eventually did it and I got my hair cut in Spanish. And it wasn't as bad as I had thought it was going to be. It was actually not too bad at all. I'd learned some good vocabulary. People were really nice, and yeah, I always get my hair cut in Spanish now, and it's really helped me feel more confident. So that one is in one of my squares. It's a good one to have. The next one, watch all of englii's videos. You're going to learn so much this year if you do. This one you'll have to wait until the end of the year to cross off, but it's a really achievable one because you'll definitely fill this out. The next one I have, tell someone the time. That could be, hopefully someone will ask you during the year what time it is and you'll be able to do it. That's a really nice one. I love that one. We could also have something a bit more career-based, so leading a meeting in English at work. That one is quite, again, a little bit nerve-wracking. It can be kind of scary, but it's something that you can work towards. I think that's a really good goal to have. Talk about current events, that's another one. So when you're having conversations with people, can you discuss what's going on right now? That's a really nice one. You'll have lots of great vocabulary for that. Next is listen to a weekly podcast. That one can be done very simply. You can put on a podcast when you're cleaning or brushing your teeth or driving somewhere or even at the gym. And that one's super achievable to help with your listening comprehension and learning new vocabulary. Such a good one to have. We also have this one. This one comes from experience. A lot of students have said this to me. It's one of the scariest things. Talking to someone on the phone in English. That's kind of scary. That can be on my square as well. So if you don't have the opportunity to do it, if it doesn't come up naturally, you could just call a business and ask what their opening hours are. That one is a really good one to do. And it helps you get over that fear that a lot of people have. Then our last one is maybe learn 10 new words a week. So it could be part of our previous SMART goal, learn some new vocabulary. And if I do it, I cross it off. Now remember, these are just inspiration. You can do a lot of different bingo card points here. You can put anything in. But these are the ones I thought of. Maybe you'll have your own. But I think it's a really fun visual way to show how much progress you've made with your language learning goals. It's a really achievable one, so fill it out. Enjoy. Well, now we have our goals in place. I think that's a really nice place to start. Remember, it takes a lot of time to learn a new language. It doesn't happen overnight, and it can feel a little discouraging sometimes when we don't see as much progress as we think we should be making. But remember, it is something that we will continue to do. It's a lifelong goal, okay? And it's always exciting. Even I'm still learning new English words, and it's my first language. I'm very excited as well when I think about learning Spanish and all the things that I can discover. So we have to think about it like that. It's something that is really impressive, something that takes time and dedication, and our motivation can ebb and flow. It can go up and down, but we're always coming back to it, right? We're always coming back to learning the language. So now we have our goals written down. It's always a little bit easier to have a look at and see where we're at and what we want to keep doing. And now we also have our bingo card, so it's something we can actively see progress on. Very exciting. Don't forget, every week we'll have a new language learning video here. So even if you're not feeling super motivated one week, you'll always have something that you can say, yep, well, I did that. I watched that video and it's helped me a little bit closer to the goal I've set for myself today. I'm Claire. Thank you so much for watching this video, and I will see you next week.